Welcome to the Cannabis Pioneer Show. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be discussing the state of the cannabis sector today, since Wealth Research Group has done a lengthy overview of all upcoming cannabis IPOs scheduled for March and April, narrowing down an initial list of over 50 private companies into 3 businesses whose model and current operations will attract major backers. Look for our complete analysis of them in the next couple of weeks here. Today we welcome Troy Dayton, who is an incredibly reputable cannabis expert from leading research firm, the Arcview Group, and I'm excited to be getting valuable information from him, as cannabis is only 4 months away from fully legalizing in Canada, and with an additional 108 million people set to be residing in legal states in the coming 12 to 18 months as more states go through the process. Troy, what's going on? How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Can we please start with a broad overview of the cannabis sector in terms of which states are likely to be legalizing next, say in the next 3 to 12 months here?
Well, when I look into my crystal ball, it looks like Michigan is poised to pass adult use legalization on the ballot in 2018. Also looks like New Jersey, Rhode Island, Hawaii, New Hampshire, all are very likely states in the next year or two to pass legalization through their legislature. And then, after that, you start looking at states like Arizona and Florida and Ohio, Illinois, these sorts of states. But that's more 2020 and beyond.
In terms of demographics, do you have a clear idea of how many people we're talking about here?
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I know that Michigan is a big one, right? And Michigan's important also from an election standpoint too. This was the state. This is a swing state that threw the election to Trump. So a very important state, and it'll be the first state in the Midwest to have adult use legalization.
Troy, in terms of the medical marijuana space, could you share with us some of the testimonials and stories of consumers who were relieved of pains or ailments thanks to cannabis? The reason I'm asking this is because the federal government will need to justify going legal at some point, and these kinds of stories, these types of success testimonials might tilt the odds in our favor sooner rather than later and help the cause along.
Well, I mean, public opinion polling could not be stronger on medical cannabis. I mean, every single national poll shows well over 80%, sometimes over 90% public support for legal access to medical cannabis. So the problem here isn't that there's not enough support and not enough stories. The problem is that there isn't enough money to have the political fights that are needed to be made to make these changes. But we're getting closer at the congressional level, and it's a real opportunity both on the Michigan effort and on passing more laws for banking and for approval at the federal level for medical cannabis, is donating to the organizations that make a difference, organizations like the Marijuana Policy Project and the National Cannabis Industry Association. I mean, it seems like every other day there's a celebrity doctor that is well trusted that is speaking out in favor of medical cannabis, and more data keeps coming available. So, yeah, that's what I would say about that.
Can you share with us some of the new products and what's favorable with consumers right now? What's going on with trends that are on the retail space?
Well, I don't really think of it in terms of medical and recreational. I think of it in terms of what's selling in each state, depending on what is legal in that state. So some states have medical and adult use, and others just have medical, right? So because the population sort of transfers over between both of them. But whether it's medical or adult use, the brands are really the hot thing right now. I mean, we're really moving into a place where people are getting very identified with brands, as opposed to just loose flower or strain names. Right? It's becoming much more of a branded experience with a wide range of different products. So everything from lozenges to inhalers to patches to a wide range of concentrates, concentrated versions of the product, and all different permutations of that that is extracted in different ways that create different tastes and different feelings. And then you've got the vape pens, which have become hugely popular. And they're getting very strain specific, and also like for specific things like for sleep or for creativity. So we're getting much more refinement of the cannabinoid profile that responds to people in different ways, which I think is becoming very exciting in the marketplace. And flower. Joints and things like that are really on the decline, except for branded joints. So pre-rolled joints are becoming more and more popular with lots of different brands coming out. So I think, particularly with the dropping price in wholesale cannabis, which is to be expected as it becomes more commodified, the value shifts, more from, shifts from the cultivation and really into the brands, much like you'd see in other agricultural products.
Can you talk about all the difficulties still facing cannabis entrepreneurs today? Troy, this is still very early on. Like cryptocurrencies, the governments are now holding back the industry due to bureaucracy. Can you explain what entrepreneurs are facing today, dealing with?
Well, I mean, you've got, federal law, challenges that make banking hard, that make taxes hard. That's step one, right? Step two is you've got state level licensing, which is ever changing and difficult to get in most states. And then you have, your local community to navigate around and deal with the zoning boards and everything there. And so when you add all of that up, and then you put that on top of all of the challenges that any business would have getting started, it really presents a remarkable challenge. That being said, it also presents a remarkable opportunity, because there are very few industries that are growing at this rate and are making such a difference in the world. So I think a lot of people are drawn to it also because they care, because it's exciting, because it's irreverent, because it's an opportunity to be part of history.
Listeners who are tuning in today and want to get involved with the private deals before they even go public, and they're not accredited investors, maybe they are accredited investors, how can they get access to the right networks? Give people some pointers here, please.
Yeah, as an investor, let's assume you're an accredited investor, a high net worth accredited investor, and it doesn't actually matter what state you're in. The best thing to do is to be looking at private deals and building a network of other investors and other experts that you can really lean on to be able to evaluate the deals, because the pricing of these deals is not normal, right? It's all over the place. There's no real standard. So it's a very one-off kind of experience. And there's so many different areas to invest in, both things that touch the plant directly and then all the ancillary businesses that go around the cannabis industry as well. And so, at my company, the Arcview Group, we have what's called the Arcview Investor Network, which is a consortium of over 600 high net worth accredited investors who are all looking to place 50,000 to 20 million into the cannabis sector. And we look at deals. We look at about 3 or 4 deals every week out of the 30 or 40 that our team talks to. And then about 5 times a year we get together and we have those companies present and we have a really good time. And we spend a lot of time making sure that people get connected to the people they need to be connected to in order to make the most of it. So let's say you're looking at packaging companies. Wouldn't it be valuable to look at the last 5 packaging deals that got funded and talk to the investors in those 5 packaging deals before you decide whether this packaging deal is the right deal for you, right? That can save you a lot. And it's also a great learning opportunity as well, because you get to work with each other on due diligence, on negotiation, and also then helping those companies succeed. So it's really fun. It's a really great group. We're next up going to be in Vancouver, because what's really hot in this market right now is Canada. What's happening in Canada is just tremendous. And so we're going to be in Canada in May, in Vancouver. So that would be a good opportunity to be involved. If you're not an accredited investor, there is some equity crowdfunding stuff popping up. And of course, there's the OTC markets and the Canadian Stock Exchange and, some exciting stuff happening in Australia as well.
Lastly, Troy, where can people check out more work from Arcview Group?
Yeah, you can go to arcviewgroup.com or arcviewmarketresearch.com, in addition to the investor network, which our group placed over $50 million to 60 companies last year. And so there's that, and then there's the market research. So every month or two, we're coming out with a new report, and we put out the market numbers for the cannabis space. And if you go on there today, you can download the executive summary, which is quite robust. It's just free, to our market report. And if you like that and you want to get access to the best information in the space, you can purchase some of our reports or sign up for our annual thing where you get all the reports we make.
Thanks for being here and sharing the valuable information with us today, Troy, and look forward to getting you on again.
Thank you.